Welcome back, brave adventurer. The world has sorely missed your presence during these trying times whilst you were away. So, right, let's have a look. We're going to need you to go back to that zone you're in the other day. And we need to kill the butterflies again. And as a reward, I'll give you some gold, some reputation. I might increase your power a little bit. Hey, you might even get a mount, eh? Now, chop chop, my metric engaging friend. Time is ticking. This is what over the years has become known as a daily quest. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Dailies, thanks for playing the game. We'll see you tomorrow. The answer to the question of how MMO developers convince players to log in each and every day. Many MMORPGs these days are subscriber based. After all, if players don't feel a need to log in, they're gonna forget about the game and move on. We need a surefire way to have them coming back. Do we make a game that offers fun and varied activities, caters to a wide variety of players and allows progression through whatever means they like? Or do we bang a few go kill stuff in this zone, or you're going to fall behind on power comparative to your friends? It's been around for a long time, the concept of daily type events, or not even just dailies, but times when it's beneficial to play, all the way back to Ultima Online when they had Power Hour, a time when you'd be able to level things up faster. In WoW Classic, we do have the blue exclamation mark of doom, of course, but these are repeatable quests, like the cloth hand-ins with major cities to get reputation, the Morrograin one, or that one goblin we all know, Zorbin Fandazzle in the middle of Feralus, who has those two quests, one which has an awful drop rate and the other which is really annoying to find the mobs for. Still though, Steamweed or Cartel rep. In fact, dailies have grown into an MMO mainstay across so many titles. You can go online and find well-being individuals having put together entire compilations or checklists of what you can consider doing every single day, or week, or sometimes even every month. There's a lot to get done. Players have come to expect this as part of the endgame loop, as something that just happens in an MMO, I guess. In World of Warcraft, things to do daily started to crop up in the Burning Crusade, our current expansion, though they were largely fairly benign. Your cooking, fishing, your heroic dailies, which we all have in at the moment, which weren't in originally from the start. Later we'll have Sketis, Ogrilar, Netherwing, cosmetic stuff mainly. There are a few items from them, and the badges from the heroic dailies are nice, but then again, if you want to cap out your badge gear, you could do it in the space of a week if you really wanted to grind it. In the final patch in the Sunwell, we had the server-wide progression to unlock said raid. As the server went through the motions, new areas would unlock, new quests would unlock, and once everything was said and done, the island was fully opened alongside the raid. And there were some very good items from that reputation, particularly the dual crafting trinkets and the new levels of gems, as well as the alchemy trinkets, but they were either things you could put on the auction house or bonuses that the players with that profession would go after themselves. I think the first time dailies might have gone a bit too far perhaps was actually during Sons of Hodir in Wrath of the Lich King. Now this is a bit ahead where we are at the moment, so I'll talk you through what happened. There were two shoulder enchants which were linked to this reputation. We had lesser ones at Honoured, and then Exalted we had the greater versions. Now in patch 3.3, the greater versions were actually changed to be made account wide, so you only needed to do the Exalted rep grind once. I wonder if we'll have that from launch actually, that's an interesting one. This meant that it was essentially quote unquote mandatory for everybody to do this rep grind to Exalted at least once, and after you'd done the quest to get started with it, you were Honoured, so it was still a fair bit of dailies ahead of you before you could get the reward. You might be thinking, but hang on, we have Aldor and Scryers which has the exact same system where you have things at Honoured, the lesser leg enchants, and then Exalted you have the greater ones, which is true, but those can be sold. The ones in Wrath cannot, which is quite the big difference between the two, so you don't need to have done that grind yourself. Moreover, if they were not sellable, then it would create a lot of regret because you can only be either Aldor or Scryers, so it kind of has to be this way, whereas everybody has access to the Sons of Hodir and Wrath. This was also the same format in Cataclysm, where they put the shoulder enchants on the Therazane reputation, except I don't believe they were bind on account then at any point. I'm pretty sure I did that rep grind more than once for the shoulders. If we fast forward quite a bit more from Wrath of the Lich King, I actually like how Legion did dailies. It was a very simple idea. We take the blue exclamation mark from over the NPC's head, and we just throw them out into the world and call them world quests instead. They now had a bunch of different activities which could spawn and give reputation with different factions, which was somewhat similar to some daily zones which would have rotating quests, but there was also much more variety in them as well. It wasn't just so much going to kill and collect anymore. There were jumping puzzles, memory games, a whole different collection of things. It was the point in time when dailies really took over as something being directly tied to your character's power through artifact power. Dailies seem to have been a bit too effective. It's gone from activities for cosmetics to going into a new zone, seeing a bar appear, sighing and saying, well, I know how this goes, I've played this format all too many times. It's just very easy for them to feel mandatory if too high of a reward is allocated, which is an issue because so often in MMOs content is considered dead if players lack the reasons to engage with it. I say this because I think it's fine to feel as though you have run out of things in a game and to say, okay, I'm going to take a break now. In a Q&A from Yoshi Ping, this sentiment was also echoed when he was asked, I love Final Fantasy XIV, it's hard to keep playing the game because of lack of content and now I'm taking a break here. Is there any reason to keep playing or anything that can teach me how to keep my motivation going? To which it was answered, it's alright not to play every day since it's just a game. You can stop forcing yourself if it's hard on you to keep up. Rather, it'll just pile on unnecessary stress if you limit yourself into playing that just one game since there are so many other games out there. So do come back and play to your heart's content. When the major patch kicks in, then stop to play other games before you're burnt out and then come back for another major patch. This was obviously a while ago, and yes, I do realize there are dailies in Final Fantasy, but it's quite a different way to think about it, especially when it's coming from the top down. There were some interesting interviews from Blizzard as well, from Ian following the 3 million subscriber fall off in an early quarter of Warlords of Draenor, quoting saying, especially nowadays players aren't necessarily viewing World of Warcraft as a year-round lifestyle so much as a game that they love, and to some extent that's okay. We don't want to prevent people from enjoying the game that way. Part of the cyclical nature is that yes, when we do have a large upsurge, it's not surprising that there's a bit of a dip off after that. So do we move hard to try and give people reasons to log in, or say, okay, sure, we'll see you when you feel like playing again? I think the daily system in TBC is about as far as it needs to go perhaps, or not even dailies, but just times of interest when something is happening in the world and you can get bonuses from it. Though those can often misalign with real life and leave players feeling as though they're missing out on something special just because it doesn't fit into their lifestyle and hours when they're able to log in. Power Hour in Ultima Online is an example of this. Done better perhaps is in RuneScape 3, for example. They have entire weekends where experience gained is doubled, and they always see a huge amount of players grinding away on top of huge market shifts for the entire game, and it's fun to see numbers go up that much, let's be real. It feels like MMO players have come into a mindset where they need to main game something. MMOs are known to be such time sinks, so sometimes it can be hard not to do this, and in TBC you can hit a wall pretty fast to be honest, but the dailies that are there are optional if you'd like, not mandatory to improve your character, and that's about as far as they should go. But perhaps the MMO game genre owes that to the players though. Many of them ask for a monthly fee, so they better be coming up with a good set of reasons for me to keep tossing $15 their way. And if you look over to AAA games these days, which are now pushing a $70 price point, how many of them are going to give you over 4 months of stuff to explore and enjoy without trying to go into an online experience themselves? Maybe there's just overall too much reliance on the daily gameplay loop at endgame, and this has very much been echoed from sentiments as Blizzard trying to push engagement metrics rather than creating an engaging game, and perhaps they're scared that people won't come back without some tactics being employed. This is on top of balancing the catch-up mechanics required for the more casual players to get them up to speed each and every patch in a relatively fast manner, because as soon as something new comes out in World of Warcraft, everything that's came before it is kind of dead in the water, again, which could be seen as a gameplay issue with the format. And on the other side, we have the guys who are main gaming WoW, who can off the back of it feel as though they're not really getting the most out of the time. Why grind this now when it's going to be 2 times as fast in a week or two? Is this really worth my time investment? Artifact knowledge in Legion was a big culprit of this. I don't expect dailies to go anywhere, but for me there's a right and wrong way to do them. And it's all entirely around the why. If they're ever on the same tier as raids, dungeons for upgrading gear, or working on significant power upgrades for your characters, then they could become a problem. If you have some time and want to do something extra, I think they fit into that box fairly well. Anyways, let me know your experience with dailies and how they are for you, not necessarily just in World of Warcraft either, across any games you've played, and what you think they've done right and where they've gone a little bit too far. As always, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one very soon.